Hey friends, welcome back to the Destination Baby and Kids YouTube channel. This is Gina. I am super excited to be here with you today to go over two fabulous strollers that are hiding behind me right now. The strollers are going to be the NUNA TRIV NEXT as well as the Peg Perego Vivace. And if you're thinking to yourself, I've never heard of the Peg Perego Vivace. Well, that is why we are making the video. I've done a video like this in the past. I feel like that video was a complete disservice to these strollers. I would like to thoroughly compare them because, as I said, I think Vivace is actually a really strong option for consumers. It's a stroller that most people know very little about, if anything or nothing about, and I would like to make sure that I have this in my video library so that I can send this to my customers as well when they're asking, hey, I like the TRIV NEXT, what else would you consider? So let's launch right in and talk about what is going to make both of these strollers pretty special. So if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll see that I do sell a ton of NUNA strollers. So NUNA is a really, really strong brand for me. It's one of the strongest brands in premium right now. So moving into 2025, I wouldn't expect that to change. And why I point this out is that there's a certain amount of cachet that comes with buying some of these brands. And so you might say to yourself, what the hell are you talking about? There are going to be people that will purchase products just based on the fact that they will gain social status by other people looking at their product, recognizing it, saying, oh, that's a blank. So-and-so has that. I saw that in XYZ magazine, or I saw it on my feed, whatever, whatever. So NUNA, for sure, right now, is that girl. No one's going to take that away from her. She is definitely that girl. That being said, there are some of us that have reached an age, and I would be a part of this, where having a specific brand with the cachet, although would have value to me, a greater value to me, might actually be the things that the product can do. So there are some things about Vivace that I think trounce TRIV NEXT in terms of feature set, but there are going to be things about TRIV NEXT that absolutely kick Vivace's butt. So they're similar but different. But definitely if you were considering TRIV NEXT and you're just thinking like, hey, that's the only one that I ever hear about, that's kind of small, lightweight, does everything, would be great for travel, would be great for all around, I would also have you consider Vivace, okay? So let's launch into what makes them similar and different. Biggest similarity between these two products is going to be the price. So they are both $700. They are both 20 pounds. Now before you start yelling at me and say, the NUNA says it weighs less than that. They weigh it without the canopy, without the liner, and without the front bar. So that's not a true weight at 18.4 pounds or whatever they say it is. A true weight on both of these is going to be, I would argue, 20.5 to 21 pounds with all the crap on it, okay? So seat, everything on it, let's just say, just to be on the safe side, 21 pounds a piece, okay? So they're both about 21 pounds. They're both $700. The Vivace is made by Peg Perego. This is made in Italy. This stroller has a standard 2-year warranty if you buy it on some gross site like Amazon. If you want to buy it from a small brick and mortar store, like a store like mine, a Brixie store, destinationbabykids.com, head right on over there. If you were to buy this Vivace stroller from, let's say, destinationbabykids.com, you would get a 5-year warranty with it. So that is something that Peg Perego offers through small brick and mortar, which we love to point out. It's made in Italy, and it has a 5-year warranty provided you buy it at a real store with an actual human being that can help you understand it. Again, wouldn't have to be purchased in store, but just that would differentiate it from buying it from a big box site like Amazon. That's going to be a 2-year warranty. You buy it from a little store, you get a 5-year warranty. So we do love that. It's one of the longest warranties in the industry, hands down. Okay. Now we're going to start getting into some of the differences. The basket will only hold 10 pounds on the TRIV NEXT, which was kind of surprising to me. The Vivace basket is going to hold 15 pounds, so it will hold more weight. And why does that matter? If we're in Italy and we're shopping all day and we're racking up little knickknacks as we wander through Rome and just adding into our plethora of crap to bring home for friends and family, we would be able to hold more in this basket weight-wise than we're able to hold in this basket weight-wise. That being said, each seat will hold 50 pounds, okay? So that's great. That's going to take a kiddo probably up through the age of 5. But there is a huge difference between both of these strollers when we talk about how big or small the kiddo can be to sit directly in the stroller. So Vivace is going to be superior, in my opinion, in the fact that it does have a true lie flat recline that's suitable from birth. Meaning that if you wanted to put your newborn directly into the stroller seat from birth, this is a deep enough recline for a newborn to just lay in here coming home from the hospital. If we went to TRIV Next, the recline will not be as deep. Meaning what? Meaning it won't be as reclined. So I can still flip the seat around. It's modular. I can have the seat face me as the caregiver. But as you can see, this one sits more upright and this one is more reclined. This more upright setting on the NUNA means that this guy would only work from a baby as little as 6 months to go directly into this seat. Prior to 6 months, you would have to use a car seat or a bassinet that are both specific to NUNA. So they make a product called the Little Bassinet, which has a stand. That's $400. That bassinet would clip directly onto the stroller frame if you wanted it to. Additionally, it will include, when you buy it, a car seat adapter for their own brand car seats. So if you buy a NUNA stroller, you absolutely have to buy a NUNA car seat if you want it to clip onto the stroller frame. So we can't buy Graco, we can't buy any other brand to click on here. Again, why would you be buying Graco? Just be serious. But like you couldn't buy, let's say Kleck, which is like a high-end brand that people ask about, or Maxi Cozy, or Cybex. None of that will fit on a NUNA stroller. The only car seats that are gonna fit on a NUNA stroller are NUNA car seats, okay? Another feature about this stroller, which can be cumbersome for customers occasionally. No one ever believes me, but the biggest thing that prohibits people from buying this stroller is that they perceive it to be complicated to fold. And you would say, what do you mean by that? Let me show you. It does fold easily. So now it's folded up, but it won't stand up when it's folded. Now I can make it stand up when it's folded. It definitely can do that. That requires work on me, the caregiver, to do prior to folding it. So if I want it to stand up, like let's say I want to take it and stand it up, put my car seat in the trunk and have this standing while I do that, what I'm going to need to do is lock my front tires, both of them, in a forward-facing mode because they can lock underneath or in front of the frame. And then we would go ahead and we would take 2 hands. So yes, it's a one-handed fold, but to make it stand up, you would need 2 hands to adjust that handlebar down. And now, when it's folded, it'll stand, provided you lean it in the correct direction toward the handlebar, okay? So this is by not the end of the world, or this is not by any means the end of the world, that's what I'm trying to say. But I will point out, it is prohibitive to purchase, meaning I will have customers come in, I show them that they need to lock this, I show them that they need to shorten the handle, and we will try 7 or 8 times, and they still, even after being demonstrated repeatedly, will not do those steps, and then they can't figure out why the stroller won't stand like it does when I do the video, okay? So, if that's you, if you're like, I just really wouldn't want to do those extra steps, that is 100% my big sister. Another thing she hates about this is that the adapter is like a separate piece, because in her mind, she's like, if I were to drive to the zoo, and then I get to the zoo, and I've forgotten this part of it, because I didn't put it on beforehand, then I'm gonna have to go home and get it, which is very frustrating. So it is a piece that you will have to like consider and think about if you're gonna use it with the car seat. And that's true of like a lot of strollers, and it would of course fit on the frame, but to her credit, I understand what she's talking about. Stay standing. Okay, so if we look at Vivace, again, one-handed, we're gonna go ahead and fold up the seat, and then I'm gonna take my same hand and fold up the frame, and it is fully standing and folded now in one go, okay? I didn't have to lock any tires. I didn't have to do the hokey pokey, turn myself around. I didn't have to lower any handle. It just stands when it's folded. Also, we have a handle height in a similar spot here, makes it very easy to lift. The unfold on this is also super easy. You just scoot this little hinged piece toward the ground, and then the same handle that we collapsed, we now open up. Take the seat, pull it toward the sky, and again, I'm not even grabbing any specific part of it, I'm just grabbing the fabric and pulling it up. And as you can see, the stroller itself has a very generous sun coverage, adjustable foot plate, full recline, similar to TRIV NEXT. So they're both gonna have a 3-position recline. They both are modular where the seats face forward or backward. Where you will notice the difference is on the NUNA textiles. So NUNA has, without question, a fancier seat. And what I mean by that is, if I pull the seat over, you can see the seat has a liner in it. The liner is fully removable. There's mesh ventilation on the back, as well as a magnetic buckle here, which makes buckling and unbuckling very simple. But the seat itself has a ton of ventilation, which is great. And it'll hold 50 pounds, like I said before. Another thing about this seat that's different than the seat over there, I'm gonna go ahead and unlock these tires because that's very annoying, is that this seat has a heel stirrup. So we have some similar dimensions on the seating itself, because I did measure this just to double check because I'm completely insane. But the measurements on the seat are gonna be very, very comparable. So both seats have 13 inches wide, 9 inches deep. The backrest on them both is about 20 inches on the NUNA and 21.5 on Vivace. Canopy clearance is 22.5 on Vivace. Canopy clearance is 22 on the TRIV NEXT. TRIV NEXT, again, has a locking front tire. We talked about that with the Fold. The Vivace does not have a locking front tire. So if you ever wanted to lock the front tires, you wouldn't be able to do it on Vivace. To be fair, a lot of travel strollers and smaller strollers do not have locking front tires. Yo-Yo doesn't, the Minu doesn't, the Butterfly doesn't. No, Minu does have locking front tires, forgive me. I'll have to double check that one. Do they? Either way, a fair amount of strollers don't have locking front tires. Swiv from NUNA doesn't have locking front tires. So if you wanted the locking front tire, you would need to go with TRIV NEXT. But as I pointed out, not the end of the world if it doesn't have it, but just differences between the two. With the heel stirrup here, you have 2 drop points. So this first drop is gonna be 8 inches. The drop down to the bottom is 12. This guy, as you can see, does not have a heel stirrup. So this drop all the way down was like 12.5 to 13. So nice for a long-legged kiddo. Like I said, they both have bassinet options. You could do a bassinet with Vivace. Again, it has a lie-flat recline, so the bassinet would sort of be superfluous, but if you wanted it to sit in your home, it does come with a stand and it's $350, whereas Little Bassinet is overnight certified as well. That one's gonna be $400, so a little bit more expensive with NUNA to go with bassinet. And then another feature that TRIV NEXT will have that Vivace doesn't have is height adjustable handle. So why I point this out is Vivace's handle height is actually pretty darn tall. It's at about 41.5 inches. NUNA has 5 different stopping points for their adjustable handle, 38 inches, 39, 40, 41, and 42. So it'll stop at each of those spots. But why does this matter? I want to talk about this for just 1 second because another criticism that I hear about TRIV NEXT frequently, even though I think it's a pretty darn great stroller, is that there's customers that feel that the tooling isn't tight enough. Meaning they'll push it or feel it and they're like, it feels flimsy, it's making noise, it doesn't feel solid, sturdy. What they're reacting to, if I had to put a better articulation on it, is that because there's a telescoping handle here, meaning the handle slides in and out of additional tubing, there can be flexibility and you can hear it. Trying to put my microphone by it. So you hear that in the frame and you feel it because it's adjustable. So what's different about Vivace is that it's going to have 1 handle height. That's deliberate. There isn't any option to make it any taller, and the reason why it's 1 handle height is because of this style of fold. So again, your seat can be in either forward or rear facing. Same is true here. Seat can be in either forward or rear facing. Oh, please stand without locking. Oh my God, see, this almost never happens. This is like, This is like the golden ticket. If you show it to a customer this way and it stands, then you can be like, yeah, it's so easy. It always stands when you fold it. Definitely does not normally do this, but I'm loving this right now because it makes me look like a badass, so that's great. But as you can see, they both will fold with the seats facing either direction. Okay, so why else should we care about any of this? Another big difference between these products is going to be flexibility with periphery pieces. And you're like, what the hell is she talking about? She just talked about how they both sell bassinets separately. Why do I care? Really briefly too, I just want to point out Peg does have the longer sunshade. So if that matters to you, like my nephews are redheads, this would actually be pretty critical for me. They both have a magnetic mesh ventilation on the top, which is fully covered or open, and they're both UPF 50 sunshades, so you're gonna get great sun coverage with either of these, which is great. We would just wanna point it out. Definitely NUNA has more ventilation though, because you've got ventilated sides on the side of the canopy, and that backrest is removable, the liner. Now, what I'd point out here, there isn't any liner on this one, but I can make it have a liner if I want to. So people always ask me this kind of stuff. They're like, gosh, if it just did X, Y, or Z, then I'd buy it. But it's just not perfect enough. It's close, but not there. I can usually add accessories to really force people to put their money where their mouth is. So I'm like, oh, you want a liner for it? Then you'd buy it. And you wouldn't buy the NUNA, and you're not just forcing me to go through all the motions of this because you're gonna get a NUNA anyway, because that's what your friends have, and your greatest value is to make sure that you have decisions that align with your friends socially. Just kidding. I never say that to customers. I never think it either. But as you can see, for an extra, I don't know, 30 or 40 bucks, 50 maybe even. I've been selling this stuff for so long, I forget half the price of things. But as you can see, I've added a different brand. Oh my God, you can't do that. Yes, I can. I've just added an Up a Baby pink liner to this stroller, which is kind of amusing because, to be fair, they actually do a really nice pink color for this stroller called Mon Amour. I love it. It's one of Peg's signature colors that actually, like, you'll get people that have zero interest in Peg stroller and suddenly they find out they're having a girl and they buy a Mon Amour of whatever because they like the little bit of pink. But I just thought this was a cool way to show, like, we can add a liner to any product. It doesn't add mesh behind it, but it definitely adds an additional layer of like breathability, wicking the moisture away from the body, and cleanability to the product. And of course, won't affect the fold. So that's cool. Yeah, so totally able to add or remove whatever pieces I want from any of this stuff, because they both have a cup holder that you can buy for $25. Vivace has a tray. Triv Next does not. Vivace's tray is, I want to say $60, but it's pretty sick. It has like a separate tray, cup holder. They're all removable pieces. My suspicion is that there's no tray for this because of the way that this folds. With the seat mechanism folding and with this on there, I just don't think for NUNA they want to add a tray that you would then have to remove to fold it. And I don't think there's a good option for a tray to sit on there that folds up with it. So I think that's the greater hindrance with there not being a tray available on this one where there is a tray available here. So just little differences. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the car seat stuff. So as I pointed out before, Triv Next comes with a NUNA brand car seat adapter, which is awesome, but not everybody wants a NUNA car seat. I know, hard to believe. What I think is really cool about Vivace, oops, this might be easier to grab when it's sitting up, and you know what, they may do that for safety. There we go. The seat, the car seat that I have here is the Peg Perego Nido. This is in black. This has adapters that come with the stroller that I've already attached to my Peg car seat. They're included in the purchase price. Also, Peg car seats are incredibly safe. They have beautiful features. They have a reclining car seat. I'm sold out right now. I'm going to show a different reclining car seat on here in 1 second. But this is just to give you guys a chance to see that, of course, it includes adapters that work with their own brand car seats. And I'd also argue this adapter set is easier to use. And if you think about that they're Italian, you can like keep a cigarette lit and still take your car seat off. Just kidding. I'm not stereotyping. So, you know, you'd want to be careful, not ash on anybody. And then go ahead and fold the stroller up just like that. This is lightweight. This is probably about like less than 15 pounds. So that's pretty sweet. And the other cool thing is this adapter set that I showed you, you can put the car seat facing forward or backward. So if they want to look out at the world, you can do that. With TRIV NEXT, you're able to do that. You just have to actually physically switch that whole piece around. So you'd have to move the adapter around. And again, here we have this piece to like neglect, forget, or lose. Whereas if you stick peg with peg, there's nothing to lose on the frame. You just take the naked frame and the stuff's built onto the car seat to click directly on there. So we do love that. I would also point out, for multiple children and traveling, this guy is gonna have a superior feature that the TRIV NEXT does not have. So NUNA deliberately makes their products to not work with standing riding boards. They have one option that does for the Demi Next, which is a huge single to double stroller. It's awesome, but it's not what I would ever call a travel stroller. You could put a gun to my head and I'd be like, no, it's still not a travel stroller. So like, this is nice for every day, but it's also sufficiently little enough to travel with. And a sick thing about this for traveling is Peg makes an incredible standing riding board. So this will hold a kid up to 50 pounds. Front wheel is fully removable, or back wheel, I should say, the wheel that they're riding on, but it goes on and off with no tools. So if you want to quickly attach it when you're on vacation, before you head out on your full day of like nightmare sightseeing in Rome, you're gonna be able to do that. So I've just locked it on, and now as you can see, we'd be able to have a kiddo standing there and looking at the bambino, okay? But let's say you wanna go further, or let's say you just don't want a Peg Perego car seat, all right? So despite the fact that they're awesome and this is the most cost-effective way to do this, we could, with this stroller brand, buy adapters that will work for NUNA, Cybex, Kleck, Maxi Cozy, and even probably that scumbag Britex Willow. But these will go on, and now I'm gonna grab a Cybex reclining car seat. Don't get mad at me, Christina and Christine, my Peg buddies. I'm just sold out right now, but Peg makes a car seat similar to this where when it goes on, you can have a kid in here and recline it. So now we've got a lie flat and we've got room for another kid to stand. But additionally, let's say they don't want to stand. Let's say they're sick of standing. They also make this little piece which clips on. That's like a banana bike seat, or I guess just a bike seat. So now you can have an older kid sitting and riding, or they can stand and ride. It's their choice. Kids love having choices. So you can fold this with this guy on here, which is pretty cool. I think I just tucked it up and then roll this down like that. Now, the other part of this conversation is that we'd be able to take this bike seat part off if you wanted it to be slightly smaller, less annoying, but it actually all folds up. You can fold it up with the seat on it and the standing riding board as well. The seat does have to be in forward facing. If it's backward, it won't fold up with it on there. But again, we can show you that too, which is really cool. And then the other part that I think would be cool to see is that it all fits into the NUNA travel bag, which I just made a video on. And that's the travel bag I actually like for the TRIV NEXT. That's the travel bag I like for a lot of different strollers. And the reason why I like it is that usually the brands themselves kind of do a poor job of making bags for travel. So the end of this video, we'll see if all this crap fits in there at the same time. So as you can see, here's my setup for two bambino, different ages. TRIV NEXT won't be able to do that. So while TRIV NEXT has more height adjustment and locking front tires, it's more work to fold it to get it to stand. There's no option for a standing riding board. Both of these brands have garbage travel bags. I don't care what they say. They can yell at me all they want. You guys both need to improve your travel bag situation. Vivace will give you a broader variety of car seats to work with. You get the option for the rider board if you want. Made in Italy, 5-year warranty versus NUNA TRIV NEXT, made in China, 2-year warranty. Similarly sized, similarly priced. Okay, I'm gonna grab the travel bag. Here's the real test. We'll see how this works. Because we know NUNA already fits in there, I demonstrated this in my last video. As I pointed out, this travel bag is not made by either one of these brands. This is a DOONA, D-O-O-N-A car seat travel bag, available for purchase on my website, destinationbabykids.com. Any of these fabulous products are available on my website, destinationbabykids.com, if you wanted to buy them. So, if you wanted to put this in there, what I would suggest doing is collapsing the seat. I am gonna say, in this video, I'm gonna remove the rider board. It probably fits in there like perfectly all together, but I wanna just do this in a way that's probably less likely to break. So I'm gonna take it apart. And the cool thing to take it apart here is that it shows you guys how easy it is to take everything apart, including the little metal piece that just fell on my face, shoved back on this poor little floor model. Now, as you can see here, we're gonna go ahead and fold the stroller up. And you know what? This will get, like with TRIV NEXT, with both of these guys, you actually get a better, more compact fold when the stroller is parent facing, when the stroller seat is turned around. So I'm gonna turn it this way. I'm gonna fold it. And again, I would not have to have it on here in order to put it in the bag, but I just think it's maybe a little more convenient. Who the hell knows? This whole thing is probably a nightmare in a busy airport, but we're gonna figure it out anyway. So if I'm not mistaken, what I did, because I practiced this before, was set it in like this, with the wheels sort of down at the bottom, thickest part. And I did find that removing the front tires, don't have to remove the back ones, but removing the front tires is quite useful for this. And to be fair, with the NUNA, you'd have to remove the tires as well. So now I've got a little space down at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck in my banana bike seat, my wheel. I'm gonna take my flat board, shove it right in the frame. And now I think if I wanted to go to Italy, see Mount Vesuvius, Roma, we would be able to do that. And again, as I pointed out, this travel bag scenario, like you don't have to get this travel bag, but this is my new favorite, just because everything fits in it so nicely. Oh, another winner, I was right, fits in the DOONA bag. So now Vivace is all packed up, gate check, ready to go. I can walk through a nightmare airport, hands-free, with my stroller, hold my Bambino, maybe smoke a cig, no, just kidding. But you get the idea. We've got a lot of capability with the Peg Perego Vivace. So again, I just think it's important to really correctly show these products and show all the cool things they can do. And while I definitely think NUNA TRIV NEXT is an excellent choice for $700, the Vivace, which is hidden in here, is also an excellent choice at $700. So if you were looking for something a little bit off the beaten path, still can do every day, can do traveling, has option for rider board, has option for broad variety of car seats, including reclining car seat, could conceivably have a bassinet down the road, this is going to be your little dark horse. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Head on over to my website, destinationbabykids.com. If you want to buy any of these products, we have links below. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Please feel free to hit like. Go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate every view, every viewer. And if it makes sense to share this video, go ahead and share it with someone. Sharing is caring. All right, I'm so appreciative you stayed through to the end. Thank you so much for watching, and we are excited to see you in our next video.